Losing someone you love doesn't just break your heart, it rewires the entire operating system of how you show up for everyone else. And if you've ever stood at a graveside wondering why you didn't call more, hug longer, or just sit quietly in the same room with someone who needed you, then you already know exactly what I'm about to say. Grief is the most brutal teacher you'll ever have, and it doesn't hand out syllabi or office hours. It just shows up one Tuesday, and suddenly everything you thought you knew about love feels embarrassingly shallow. Here's the paradox nobody warns you about. The people who lose the most often become the ones who give the most. Something about standing that close to permanent absence makes presence feel like the most radical act in the world. Before my loss, I was the friend who checked in via a meme, the partner who half listened while scrolling, the family member who said we should catch up soon and meant absolutely never. I ran a masterclass in being technically available and emotionally absent. Then grief arrived and it held up a mirror. And what I saw wasn't a villain, it was just someone deeply asleep. The wake-up call cost more than I ever wanted to pay. After losing my father, something genuinely strange happened at a dinner table about 6 months later. My sister was mid-sentence about something I would have previously filed under not urgent, and I put my phone face down, not to be polite, but because I felt this almost physical pull to actually hear her, like the alternative was a door closing forever. That sounds small, until you realize I had spent roughly 30 years of dinners mentally somewhere else. Grief had quietly reprogrammed what being there even meant. The behavioral shifts aren't always poetic, by the way. Sometimes they're just awkward. You start calling people for no reason, overstaying visits, saying I love you at the end of phone calls to friends who clearly weren't expecting it, and watching their brief silence of confusion like, yes, I know, I've changed, please catch up. Researchers who study post-traumatic growth, yes, that's a real field, not just something on a motivational poster, have found that somewhere around 30 to 70% of people who experience significant loss report meaningful positive change in how they relate to others. That's not a typo. Grief, statistically, makes a large portion of humans more loving. The dark irony is that it takes subtraction to teach addition. Now here's what grief is not. It is not a permanent upgrade that locks in automatically. Some days the rewiring holds beautifully, and other days you're snapping at someone you love because you're scared of losing them, and that fear comes out sideways as irritability, which is, frankly, very on brand for being human. The misconception I want to dismantle is the idea that grief changes you is purely a soft, spiritual concept. It is also deeply practical. You stop postponing the trip. You stop saving the nice dishes for guests. You stop waiting for the perfect moment to say the true thing. One piece of advice I'd hand directly to anyone in the early fog of loss. Do not try to manufacture the lesson while you're still bleeding. Let the shift happen organically, because forced transformation is just performance, and grief already demands enough of you. The second piece of advice is this, and I mean this with full seriousness. Give yourself permission to become slightly annoying in your devotion to the people still here. Text back faster. Say the kind thought out loud instead of keeping it as a private draft, and treat ordinary time together like it has a cover charge, because it does. Here's the philosophical truth underneath all of it. Love is not a feeling you store safely in a vault until conditions are perfect. It's a verb you practice imperfectly, urgently, and with great willingness to look a little foolish. Grief doesn't make you fearless, it actually makes you more aware of every possible way things could end. But the difference is that awareness, when metabolized properly, stops being paralysis and starts being fuel. So the goal isn't to grieve perfectly or to arrive at some enlightened state where loss no longer stings. The goal is to let what you've survived make you softer toward the people who are still standing in front of you, right now, today. If you've lost someone and you feel that quiet shift happening, that new instinct to linger a little longer, listen a little harder, love a little louder, trust it, that's not weakness, that's wisdom, wearing the most expensive outfit it ever bought. And if this found you at the right moment, subscribe and go check out all our other topics.